Good evening, folks. Welcome to the DO Live Facebook Live session with me, Michael Ponticus, your host for the next few minutes. I'm going to be talking today a little bit about branding. Now, I was trying to figure out, and this is brought to you by the letter B, for branding. I'm trying to figure out how to condense all of that into just 3 to 5 minutes because it's such a broad topic to talk about, and I could spend hours on it. And how do we develop a brand? Or everybody confuses brand with a logo and what we're doing, but it's two completely different things. When we're developing, let's say, the logo, the brand identity, and everything that goes into it, we have to take into consideration, well, how do I get there? What am I doing? Who am I? And we have to answer some serious questions on what we're going to do. So it's not just like one of those things where you can go online, Google, oh, I need a logo, which you can, and then end up paying $100 for this little piece of imagery that doesn't really mean anything. Right? Granted, we know about budgets and what we have to do and how much a logo, for lack of a better term, can cost. But it's what is behind that door. Right? What brings us to that door? What is that brand? What is that story? We always talk here, especially when we get into content marketing and what we're doing as far as telling that story. That's great. We could tell a great story, but if we don't have the product that people want, if we're not solving the problem for a consumer when they're looking for something, we can have the best story in the world, but if what we're telling the story about isn't satisfying their need or want, then we've just lost a potential customer or a customer for a very long time. So when we're looking at branding, we had to figure out what and how are we going to stand out from everybody else. What are we going to do that's going to differentiate us, right? Look how much money people spend on a logo or a brand. Again, brand identity, not a brand, right? Nike had their story way before the swoosh came in, which, by the way, back when they started that, cost only $35 when the woman who designed the Nike logo did that at the University of Washington and she won the competition. Now, mind you, she did get a little money from that afterwards. Now, I don't know if she got like LeBron money, but she got something afterwards, stock options. But again, it's all how you do it. And the Nike logo hasn't changed since that time. They've built their brand equity on the people that they brought into the brand. And that's the other key thing, is how do you bring people into the brand? How do you make them fall in love with you? Because a lot of people do. They fall in love with the brand, right? They will get that brand and they will say, hey, I'm going to tattoo the Apple logo on my arm. Or, being that the football season is coming to a close, well, for us Browns fans, it was probably during week 1. But, also being a Dolphins fan, at least it was that first round of the playoffs. Tattoo a dolphin or a little elf or Steelers logo or any logo. So those brands, that we buy into and become that life loyal, person that's going to defend it. And that's what we're looking for too, as the brand itself and that company, is who is going to defend our brand once we put it out there. And if that should go away, do we matter? And that's a key factor too when you're developing who you are and developing your identity, is are you going to matter if you should go away, right? Are people going to just, sit around and just say, go to the next best team or the next best, substitute? If you really put that much effort into what you're doing and spending a lot of money, you want to make sure that when you develop that brand and you develop, who you are, and should people care to stick with you and doing what they're doing, you did something, right? And we saw that. And I know, I tend to use a lot of sports analogies into when I'm talking about branding, but again, look at what the Cleveland Browns had to go through, right? They left, but they fought to keep that name in Cleveland, right? When the Baltimore Colts left in the middle of the night and went to Indianapolis, okay, there's still people, I still call them the Baltimore Colts. So you lose that. And yes, football came back to Baltimore, but it was a little bit different because all those records, and we think of Baltimore football, I think of Johnny Unitas and those teams in that time. It's with anything. So we have to be careful as how much we build up in that brand. Because again, it makes it easier. When we develop that brand equity, okay, it does a lot of things when we're doing that. It helps us do a lot of things. It helps us sell better when we're out there in the marketplace. So if, company XYZ is out there and they're doing something grassroots and they have a small budget, at least now with the tools that they have and the strategy that they're going to be using, whether it's social media, whether it's, potentially direct mail or their networks that they have and what they're going to be doing, they're trying to, again, build that name for themselves. And also that helps you differentiate yourself as well from everybody else and developing that and making yourself different, right? I mean, bottled water, you could get just as good as stuff out of the taps, hopefully, depending on where you live, right? But it's about that convenience. It's about that brand that, Evian water, it's supposed to be the best one out there, or Fuji, or however it is. So how are you going to position yourself as your brand is better than everybody else, right? And getting that basically, tap water, right? So again, when you do that, it also makes it easier for your sales force, okay? So there's always this misconception that marketing, advertising, public relations, graphic design, sales, it's all the same thing. No, it's completely different in different aspects and how you do. They kind of blend together at times on how you're going to use them, but the great brands know how to put all of them together and develop that key message to get out there to their consumers. So when you have that, it makes it easier for your sales force to help sell the brand onto other people. And it also breaks through all the clutter when we're building brand equity. So if you're looking at it, why you have to invest in a brand and what you're going to be doing, if you're going to take some, some key takeaways from that, and when you're developing this, whether it's a small local company all the way to as it grows, you have to grow with it. You have to develop standards on how it's going to look. Can you imagine if McDonald's, when they were, franchising in the beginning there, was just saying, you could use whatever color. We don't have to be called the Golden Arches, even though we have it. If you're in Ohio, you could be the Blue Arches or the Purple Arches, or going overseas. No. If you lose that continuity and everything, then you're going to lose potential customers, because then you're not going to be reaching out to them. They're going to be wondering where you went. Okay, so that's the first thing. It makes it easier for the consumer to buy. The second thing when you're going that and why you should invest into a brand and investing into a company who knows what they're doing, just because somebody says and they produce a nice pretty little logo for you, that doesn't mean anything. Google home construction logos. More than likely the first couple ones you're going to see, which you could probably buy off the internet for $100, they're all going to look the same. A house, a roof, or a door, or whatever it is. There's no differentiation there. Invest in a company and invest the money into doing something that's going to differentiate you from the competition. And the third thing that you could take away this, why you would want to invest in a brand, and I'll probably revisit this, topic at another time too, is it's going to make it easier for your, not just for your sales force, but it's also going to build that brand equity. When you have that consistent look throughout, whether it's on Facebook, whether it's on Instagram, your website, on any type, on a business card, it's going to build that brand equity, because then people are going to want to come to you. They're going to find you. They're going to seek, you out. And then you're going to be able to get them coming back for more. And hopefully building that loyalty to, where they're going to be doing all that for you. They're going to be blogging about you. They're going to be talking about you. They're going to take a picture on Instagram and post it wherever it is. So, everybody can say, like, this is who I belong to. This is who this is my tribe. Building that tribe of followers. We see it all the time, and how we're doing that. And we're building this collective, this community when we're doing that. So those are the three things that you have to look at when you are going to invest money into a brand identity and developing your own brand. So this is Michael Ponticus, Creative Director for DOYO Live, and a few other things that I do. Look forward to seeing you again. If you have any questions, just remember to, leave a comment here, and I will get back to you on it. Have a great night, everybody.